An Apple as Red as Blood by TheBearMage. Jaeger, come here. Eren startled at the sound of his captain's voice. He wasn't in trouble, was he? He had been on his way to see Hanji, but he didn't want the captain's anger. Yes, Captain? Eren asked, saluting him. Levi looked at Eren with a normal, blank expression. What are you doing, Eren? I was going to see Hanji, sir. They want to experiment with my Titan powers. Levi nods. Oh, okay then. Go on then. Eren sucked in a breath through his teeth, dreading that Hanji would want him to do. Yes, sir. Levi's lips quirked in amusement, and Eren felt his face burn. God damn it, not again. Go on then. Levi made a shoe motion with his hands, and Eren realized he'd been staring. Get moving! Yes, sir. Eren quickly turned and walked off. Holy shit, he had it bad, like real bad. He wanted to stay with Levi so bad. He didn't want to go to Hanji, but he knew he had to, as both a Titan shifter and a member of the Scouts. Eren tried to fight the blush on his face, and he quickly walked to Hanji's office. He knocked on the door, hearing them answer, and walked in. Levi walked to his office, a tender smile on his face as he thought of the teal-eyed boy he'd just talked to. Levi was head over heels for Eren. He loved the boy so much. Levi would have excused Eren if he had decided to stay and talk with him, not just because of his feelings, but because who wants to get experimented on by Hanji? Levi opened his office door and walked in. As he turned around to lock the door, something whizzed through the air, and all Levi felt was pain. It was hot, searing, spreading through his body from his lower back to his middle stomach. Levi wanted to scream for help, but all the air had left his lungs in shock. He looked down at the source of his agony. A knife was buried deep into his side. Levi noticed the hand holding the hilt of the blade. The blade and hand were glowing with an eerie purple glow. The captain didn't know what it was. Levi slowly lifted his head up, his breath coming out as ragged gasps, to see a green-eyed, red-haired man looking at him with an icy glare. Why? Levi could barely choke out the syllable. His body started to shake from the strain. Blood seeped into the wrong parts of his body, climbing back up his throat and dripping from his lips. I want you to suffer, the man growled, the way I have. Levi was confused for a moment, then the man ripped the knife out, and Levi grunted in pain. He collapsed to the floor, his vision slanted as the man strode away. Everything went black, but the pain remained. Even the comfort of the darkness was disputed by the toxins. The blade had been poisoned. Panic. That would be the best thing to describe what was happening. A cadet had walked into Levi's office and found the captain on the floor. They screamed for help, and the other soldiers rushed in. One ran off to Eren, while the others carried Levi to the infirmary. As soon as Eren was informed, he rushed to the infirmary and was shocked and heartbroken at what he saw. Hanji was running around. Levi lay on the bed a little bit away. All of the color was gone from his face, leaving him appearing very frail. His face dripped with sweat, and he was practically gasping for breath. The wound in his side still bleeding heavily. To Oren's shock and confusion, it seemed to be glowing. The same eerie glow from the man's blade now pulsed into Levi's wound. Oren looked at Levi. The man's face was scrunched up in pain. Split and blood dribbled from his lips. He was completely limp on the bed, but his eyes were half open and glossy. Levi. Oren looked down at his friend in worry. Can you hear me? Levi's eyes rolled around in their sockets a little as the lids fluttered, but then he swallowed and seemed to focus. Eyebrows. Oren sighed in relief. Yeah, Levi, it's eyebrows. He chuckled, and Levi tried to sit up. Eren gently pushed him back down. Hey, whoa. He said gently, don't sit up. The poison is still in your system. You need to rest. Levi growled, that motherfucker. Where is he? Before Erwin could answer, the door slammed open behind him and Eren rushed in. I just heard what happened, he cried. Is he okay? What? Eren's eyes landed on Levi's bed and gasped, rushing over to the other side of Levi's bed, opposite of Eren. Oh my god, Captain, are you okay? Eren was silently shocked to see Eren, but Levi wasn't. He only groaned. Brad, if you don't shut up, I'll kick your ass. Eren slapped his hand over his mouth. Sorry. Hanji walked over to the bed from the station nearby. The poison isn't like one I've ever seen, they said. I can make something to combat your symptoms, but for now, all you can do is rest. Levi sighed but adjusted himself on the bed to be more comfortable. Fine, I just don't want anyone yelling as I sleep, okay? Everyone threw their hands up. Oren looked amused and Eren looked guilty. Levi fell asleep a few moments later. Eren doesn't leave Levi's side as the captain sleeps. He claims that someone should stay with Levi in case something were to happen. No one had the heart to pry the boy away. Eren was reading a book as he sat in the chair next to Levi's bed. He yawned a little as he flipped the page and continued to read. A groan startled him out of his thoughts. He looked over to see Levi's eyes opening. Captain? Levi slowly turned his head to see Eren. Eren nodded. Yes, Captain, it's me. Levi looked confused. What are you doing here, Eren? Looking after you, sir, Eren responds. I didn't think leaving you alone would be a good idea. Levi was taken aback by Eren's concern. Thank you, Eren, but you should get to bed as well. Eren waved him off. I slept in the chair for a few hours, sir. He said, I'm fine. Levi glanced at the window and realized it was early morning. Okay. Eren giggled as Levi laid his head back down. After a moment or two, Levi turns to Eren. Eren looked at Levi. Yes, sir? What are you doing here? Alarm spiked through Eren. I'm here to watch over you, sir. He said, I already told you that. Levi looked confused. You did? Eren placed his hand on Levi's forehead. Oh God, you're burning up. Levi groaned in pain. Eren, shit. Captain, what's wrong? Get Hanji. Levi slurred the words dying in his throat as his eyes roll back into her head and he starts to seize. Levi! Eren screamed, bolting to the door and poking his head in the hallway. Hanji! Eren didn't care who he was waking up. He was more worried about Levi. Hanji came bolting down the hall a moment later. Eren, what's going on? They noticed Levi on the bed. Oh God, Levi! Hanji rushes over. They roll Levi to the side and place a pillow under his head and then step back. What are you doing? Eren screeched. Help him! I can't, they said hastily. If I do anything at this point, it could hurt him. Eren and Hanji watched Levi in horror. Vomit began leaking from the man's mouth as he continued convulsing. Tears rolled down Eren's cheek at the horrifying display before him. It was all wrong. None of this should be happening. He was scared for Levi. Why isn't it stopping? Eren cried in a semi-hysterical tone. I don't know. Hanji cried back with watery eyes. Suddenly it all stopped and Levi slumped in the bed. Hanji ran forward and immediately checked his pulse. It was erratic, but present. They were focused on his breathing, which was ragged and fast. Making sure Levi was positioned on his side, they rubbed his back. Come on, Levi, breathe, they muddled. Levi sucked in a few breaths, soon after, coughing slightly as it did. There we go. Hanji breathed in relief, grabbing a cloth and wiping the vomit from Levi's face. Eren stood there, froze. Tears continued to flow down his face as he choked out the words. Is he... He's fine, as he can be. Hanji replied. Levi's having a seizure. It's a bad sign, though, Eren. Eren backed up a little. Is he going to? Hanji looked down. I don't know. Eren couldn't handle it anymore. He turned on his heel and rushed out the door, ignoring Hanji's calls for him. Eren didn't know where he was running, but he let his feet carry him wherever they wanted to go. Eren soon finds himself outside the breeze, tugging at his hair and clothes. He sighs and sat down on the ground under the tree. Levi was getting worse. Eren could tell the poison was working fast if they didn't do something soon. Eren didn't want to think about it. He placed his head in his hands, praying to any and all gods listening for help. Oh, poor child. Eren gasped, looking up. A man wearing a dark cloak stood in front of them. His red hair was pulled back into a ponytail, and his green eyes were framed by glasses. Your beloved is dying, and there's nothing you can do. The man said, I'm so sorry. Eren's eyes narrowed at the man. He was wandering around his form, taking in his appearance. His eyes suddenly glued onto something, the dagger dangling from the man's belt. It was covered in dried blood and was glowing the exact same glow as Levi's wound. Eren jumped up. You're the man who attacked Captain Levi. The man doesn't seem shocked that the young cadet figured it out. The evidence was literally dangling from him. The man forced a smile. Yes, I did stab Levi in his office at exactly 9:47 a.m. yesterday. His smile drops. Great observation, Eren Yeager. He smiled, his words dripping with sarcasm. Eren started to bring his hand to his mouth when the man held up his own hand. He said. I wouldn't do that if I were you. Eren freezes. Why should I listen to you? The man smiles. I didn't want to kill Levi, he says, clutching Eren off guard. I want him to suffer. The best way to make him suffer, where I've been suffering, is you. Eren gasped. Me? The man's smile is wicked. Yes, you. Captain Levi cares about you, and you care about him. Eren growled. What do you want? I want to make a deal. The man rummaged around in his bag and pulled out a dark red apple. The man seems to study it for a moment. Did you know that apples stand for health and wisdom? He tossed the apple over to Eren, who eyes the apple with suspicion. Why do I get this feeling that this one will kill me? It won't kill you, the man says. No, what it'll do is make you fall in a very deep sleep. The man slowly circles Eren as he speaks, with no known way to wake you up. You'd stay trapped in a slumber with only your dreams to accompany you. Eren scoffs. You gonna force me to eat it? The man chuckled. No, it won't work anyway. He stops right behind Eren and leans close to the boy's ears. The choice is yours. It must be taken willingly. And why would I accept? Because if you don't accept my gift, the man smiled, Captain Levi will die. Eren's eyes widened. No. The man laughed. You could tell, couldn't you? Levi is just getting sicker and sicker. The wound isn't healing. He's going to either bleed out or succumb to the toxins. Eren shook his head. No. As I said, the man straightened himself up and walked back around Eren to stand in front of him. The choice is yours. I take the apple and he lives? Eren looked at the man in the eyes. You swear it. The man nodded. I swear it. Eren looked back at the apple in his hands before bringing it up to his mouth and taking a bite. Back in the infirmary, Levi starts to shake in the bed. Hanji rushes over to him. Eren, who was sitting at Levi's bedside, flinches in surprise. Levi? Hanji started to examine him. What's wrong? Levi grunted in pain and holds his side. Fuck. Hanji unwraps the room and freezes in shock. The glowing purple liquid was forcing itself out of Levi's injury, seeping into the bed and staining the fabric. The man beams wildly as Eren chews and swallows. The effects are immediate. Eren can feel his body shutting down. He sways on his feet as his entire body seems to get heavier and heavier. He looks at the man in shock and fear as his eyelids droop a little. Hanji and Eren continue to watch in awe and confusion as the last of the poison had left Levi's body. The wound started to stitch itself back together as if Levi was never stabbed in the first place. Levi sits with a loud gasp, his eyes darting around the room, a strange feeling in his chest, like Levi knew he was in trouble. Eren let out a soft sigh as his eyes flutter shut and he collapses to the ground. As his head lands on the grass, the apple slips from his gift, rolling a few inches away, the bite mark pulsing with magic. The man roars in laughter. He stands still, looking down at the deeply slumbering boy. Have a wonderful night's sleep, Eren, he mocked. He knelt down next to Eren. I'll have to check up on Levi later. I need some comfort. He just lost his beloved shifter. The man gets up and marches out of the field, leaving Eren behind. Hang on, Levi, please. Levi, for once in his life, ignored Eren. Stumbling down the hall, something was telling him that he had to get to the gardens, that something had happened. Levi! Great, Hanji was on his ass now, too. His two friends had been alone when Levi had suddenly bolted right up, mumbling Eren's name before taking off in a rush. Levi rounded the corner and pushed open the wooden doors that led to the garden. Hanji and Eren skidded around the corner behind him. Levi! Eren shouted, Wait! Levi scanned the area, his eyes landing on the figure in the grass. Eren! He ran over to him, dropping to his knees next to the boy. Hanji and Eren were on his trail. Oi, Eren, can you hear me? Levi shook the boy lightly. Eren made no move in response. He looked peaceful, laying on the grass on his side, chest rising up and down, rhythmically, his eyes closed. Is he sleeping? Eren asked, crunched over the boy, with his hands on his knees. Hanji looked confused, grabbing Eren's wrist and taking his pulse. It was slow and even, just like his breathing. He's sleeping really deeply, Hanji noted, looking surprised. Levi shook Eren again. Eren! Eren didn't even twitch. Levi then noticed the apple on the ground and picks it up, confused, before turning it in his hand and seeing the glowing bite mark. Eren, Hanji, and Levi's eyes widened in horror, recognizing the glow. No. Levi turned back to Eren, shaking the boy frantically. Eren, wake up! Come on! All Levi did was make Eren's head loll to the side. He didn't even wake up, didn't even twitch. Levi felt tears filling his eyes. He gently lifted Eren's upper body off the ground. Eren, this isn't funny. Levi supported Eren's head, looking at its closed eyelids. Come on, Eren, open your eyes, please. When Eren once again didn't move a muscle, Hanji placed a hand on Levi's shoulder. Levi, the man who attacked you did something to him. They looked upset as well. He's not waking up. Eren carried the shifter back to the castle. Everyone who saw stopped and stared at them. It was almost symbolic in the way. The commander of the survey corps, holding the limp form of the feared Titan shifter in his arms, as he, Levi, and Hanji walked somberly to the third floor of HQ, where the cleaner and nicer rooms were. Hanji and Mobot take Eren from Eren after that, changing the boy's clothes from his uniform to a pair of comfortable sleeping clothes, a soft black long-sleeve shirt with some gray pants. Hanji and Mobot pick a room for Eren. It was one of the nicest rooms they had. It was roomy with a queen-size bed. They lay Eren down in the middle of the room, slightly propped up on the pillows, but still resting comfortably, with the covers pulled up to his collarbone and his hands folded on his abdomen. Hanji took a moment to study the boy. They smiled sadly. Eren's body was completely relaxed and limp on the bed. His eyes shut softly, not a twinge or scrunch on his face. His breathing was slow and rhythmic, and his lips were slightly ajar. He looked peaceful, like he could wake up any moment. Levi sat in the chair by Eren's bedside, with Eren and Mobot sitting beside him. Levi glanced up at Hanji and gave them a nod. Hanji called all of Eren's friends together to tell them at once. Amon was nervous as he walked up to the third floor. He was even more confused when he saw Jean, Mizika, Connie, and Sasha waiting outside the door. Hey, Amon, Connie called. Do you have any idea what's going on? Amon shakes his head. No, I was just about to ask you guys the same thing. Jean was about to make a comment when the door opened and Hanji stepped out. Good, you're all here. They gently closed the door behind them, resting against it. What's going on, Hanji? Sasha asked. Hanji sighed. Did you guys hear about what happened recently? Yeah, everyone has. Connie replied. Captain Levi got attacked, right? Hanji nods. This information hasn't been revealed to the public, and whatever I say cannot leave this hallway. Everyone nods. The man who attacked Levi has powers that we don't understand. Hanji tries to explain. It's practically magical. The blade Levi was attacked with was poisoned with magic, and because of it, Levi's body didn't heal. Everybody's eyes widened, but they were so confused. How did this involve them? Hanji continued. However, Eren found a way to cure Levi. He did? Armin asked. How? Hanji looked grim. By making a deal with Levi's attacker and redirecting the curse onto himself. Everyone froze. Hanji sighed. Our guess is that Eren made a deal basically saying if he allowed himself to be cursed, the man would cure Levi. Everyone looked alarmed and worried. Shockingly, it was Connie who spoke up. Is he... Hanji shook her head. He's still alive, but he's under a powerful spell. Hanji looked away. One we might not be able to reverse. Everyone gasped in horror. What did the spell do to him? Armin asked, shaking. Hanji looked at him grimly before walking backwards. While opening the door, the cadets rushed inside and stopped once they see Eren. Eren! Mitsuka and Armin shout, rushing to his bedside. The other cadets follow them a moment later. Mitsuka stands over Eren's body for injuries. When she finds none, she looks over to Levi, who's across from her. What's wrong with him? She asks darkly. We don't exactly know. Eren answers for Levi. All we know is that the man convinced Eren to take a bite at the poison apple, and now he won't wake up no matter what we do. Hanji shows the group the apple with the glowing bite mark. This is what we assume Eren ate. As you can see, it's glowing with the same magic that Levi's wounds were. Which means normal medicine won't work here. The cadets look at Hanji with crushing sadness. Hanji looked down. I'm so sorry. Eren felt warm. The darkness seemed to cuddle him on all sides, keeping him warm, content, and blissful. His mind was full of fog. He couldn't seem to remember anything, but he didn't care. What was his name again? Why was he here? It felt so good he didn't care. He just wanted to feel good. He wanted to wait to float in darkness. He felt so peaceful, tranquility, calm. Even though it was like his eyes were barely open, he could see a wall before him. The wall went on forever and ever. The wall came closer, even though Eren couldn't feel his body move. He couldn't feel his body at all. The wall stopped right in front of him, and Eren dimly realized that it wasn't exactly a wall, but doors. Rows and rows of doors going on and on and on. Eren didn't even know why they were there, but curiosity overcame him. His arm felt like lead as he lifted it up. He grabbed the door handle on the nearest door and swung the door open. Bright light filled his vision. Eren blacked out. The sound of the bell ringing snapped Eren out of his daydream. It had been the weirdest dream, too. Eren glanced around in the room to see everyone else getting out of their chairs. He collects his stuff quickly, making his way out of the room. Eren keeps his eyes on the ground as he walks the hallways of his high school. He tried to find John and Reiner, the two burlies that hadn't left him alone since he moved out of Scouts High. Hey there, dipshit. Eren clenched his teeth at John. Hi, John, he sighs, missing his usual bite. He didn't have his energy for it, the ash-blonde boy today. Don't you have a stable to get to? Ha ha, very funny. Jean growled, grabbing Eren by the collar of his shirt. I've been pinned up recently, and lucky for you, you're the perfect punching bag for me. Get lost, Jean, Eren spits. I ain't nobody's dead weight. Jean laughs loudly. We'll see about that. Suddenly, two boys grab Eren from behind. Eren thrashed in their grip, trying to free himself. Eren felt something drop into the pit of his stomach once he realized what the boys weren't letting go. Whack! Pain flares in Eren's chest as Jean punches him straight in the cheek. Jean refers back again. Whack! This time the punch landed on Eren's eyes. Eren couldn't feel the bruise as tears started to pour from them. Pow! John's uppercut into Eren's stomach, causing the boy to cough roughly. The beating went on for another few minutes. Eren slowly started getting to the point he might actually pass out. Hey! Everyone turned to see the janitor holding his mop at the end of the hallway. He actually looked furious as he stormed down the hall. What the actual hell do you think you're doing here? He yelled, pulling John away from Eren and kicking the boy behind his knees. Oi, what the hell, man? Jean growled, only to freeze when the man's cold glare seemed to zone in on him. 1. You're getting blood all over my clean floors. 2. I hate to report you to Principal Smith. 3. Your horse-looking ass has been getting on my nerves. Eren had to hold back a snicker as Jean shrunk back. The other boys were long gone by now, but Eren knew that the janitor had already seen their faces. Now get out of my sight. If I ever see you picking on other students again, I'll throw you out of this school myself. The janitor picked John up by the collar and slightly threw him, causing the boy to quickly get his footing and run off. Eren laughed a little bit before his vision swarmed, and he was starting to sway on his feet. Hey, Eren, are you okay? The janitor asked again. Eren tried to nod his head, but all of a sudden his legs seemed to give out from under him. Whoa, hey! Eren laid a hand wrap around his back and shoulders, and then another at his hips. He blinked open his eyes and groaned, delirious. The janitor's face was slightly blurry to Eren, but he could tell he was hot. Like, really, really fucking hot. Eren could make out the black hair and the flash of silver. Eren tried to make out the man's face, but the more he focused, the more blurry it became. Did I just die? Are you an angel? Eren slid out. It was almost like his mouth moved on its own. Somewhere in the back of Eren's mind, he felt like an actor or a puppet being forced to recite a script. A look of alarm comes on the janitor's face. Eren, did you hit your head? Eren just looked up at the man, completely dazed. He giggled a little. Yeah, you're definitely an angel. No human could be as beautiful as you. Pink dusted the man's face. He chuckled embarrassedly. Eren, oh my God, you're a hopeless romantic. The man went down and pressed a kiss to his forehead. God, I love you, moron. Eren's world turned white. Hanji walked into Eren's bedroom, a basic medical kit in her hand. When they turned around after closing the door, they stopped. Levi was sitting in the chair, leaning against his forearms, resting on his knees. He was holding one of Eren's hands in both of his. His eyes were closed, and Hanji could tell Levi was actually sleeping. How Levi could fall asleep in that position, Hanji didn't know, but he must be exhausted if he let himself fall asleep in the middle of the day like this. Hanji let their gaze shift to the shifter. He looked exactly the same, just as deeply asleep, just as peaceful. Hanji walked over and set the medkit down on the foot of the bed. They gently placed a hand on Levi's shoulder. Levi? Levi jerked awake immediately, his eyes darting around a moment before landing on Eren, then Hanji, and he slumped down a little bit. What are you doing here, Levi? Hanji asked gently. You know he's not going to wake up. He's going to wake up, Levi growled. He's too stubborn and determined to let some stupid spell keep him asleep. Hanji sighed. I wish that was true. They say, I miss him too, Levi, but I can't let you keep living on these delusions. How long have you been in here? Levi shrugged, and Hanji finally noticed his clothing, a plain gray shirt with brown pants. Wait, aren't those your clothes from 4 days ago? Levi looked down. Maybe. Levi, you've been in here for 4 days. Hanji places their hand on his shoulder. Levi, you can't keep doing this. Eren is gone, okay? He's not waking up. He will wake up. Levi looked into Hanji's eyes blankly. I know he will. Hanji gripped his shoulder harder. No, Levi, he's not. Snap out of it. Levi shakes his head. You're wrong, Hanji. He will wake up. Hanji shakes Levi. Levi, listen to yourself. Look at Eren. He ate a poisoned apple. Levi, he's practically dead. All of his friends have moved on. Even Mizuka. You can't stay here. You're losing your mind. He will wake up, Levi growled. I know he will. Hanji looked at Levi with sadness, as if Levi had lost his mind completely. Maybe he had, but the intense feeling of determination in Levi's gut burned away all rational thought. Eren will wake up. He will wake up. Hanji backs away from Levi, looking at him with sympathy and hurt. They silently check Eren's vitals, then rush from the room, leaving Levi alone. Levi looked over Eren again. He scooched his chair a little closer, sighing. He looked into the boy's sleeping face. Eren went back in the void again, but something was different. He wasn't alone this time. Voices. He could hear voices. What are you doing here, Levi? You know he's not going to wake up. Eren focused on the voice. It sounded so familiar. He knew that voice. Who was it? Eren recognized the name, too. Who was that? Who was Levi? He's going to wake up. He's too stubborn and determined to let some stupid spell keep him asleep. Eren gasped softly. He knew that voice. A man from the dream had that voice. If that man who saved him from the beating, the janitor, and that's all the talk about being spells and sleeping. The first voice spoke as in, I wish that was true. They say, I miss him too, Levi, but I can't let you keep living in these delusions. How long have you been in here? Oh, the person doesn't believe the sick one will get better. That's awful. Wait, aren't those the clothes you wore 4 days ago? Maybe. Eren blinked slowly. The man has been sitting at someone's bedside for 4 days straight. That's some devotion. Eren wonders who the lucky... I wonder who was lucky enough to have this man in their life. Levi, you've been in here for 4 days. Levi, you can't keep doing this. Eren's gone, okay? He's not waking up. He will wake up. I know he will. Wow, the man is so devoted. Eren smiled. This Eren person is so lucky. No, Levi, he's not. Snap out of it. You're wrong, Hanji. He will wake up. Levi, listen to yourself. Look at Eren. He ate a poison apple. Levi, he's practically dead. All his friends have moved on, even Mizuka. You can't stay here. You're losing your mind. He will wake up. I know he will. It's silent after that. Eren could hear shuffling and then faint, fuzzy pressure on different parts of his body, then nothing. Eren closed his eyes and drifts again. Then Levi's voice echoes back to him. Eren, please, don't prove me wrong. Eren felt something touch his hand. Open your eyes. Wait. Was this man talking to him? But his name wasn't... Everything came rushing back. Eren could suddenly feel everything with crystal clarity. He could feel the soft bed under him, the covers covering most of his body, the fluffy pillow under his head, the gentle breeze from the open window, and the hands clasping his own. Levi. Eren tried to move to fight the darkness that kept his eyes closed, but his body felt so heavy he still felt drowsy and sleepy. Eren couldn't move. He was locked in his own body, forced to only listen and sometimes be dragged into dreams. Levi looked at Eren's face slowly, reaching up and tucking some hair away from Eren's face. You look so peaceful like this. Levi mused. I know we've been working you so hard, and you deserve to rest, but this... Levi sighed. God, Hanji thinks I've lost my mind. Levi laughed humorously. It's already been 3 weeks. Everyone has moved on. The only reason we haven't euthanized and buried you is because there's this tiny chance that you might wake up. Levi slowly started shaking. What's the point, Levi? He muttered. Levi didn't know what to do with his emotions. He remembered something his mother did when her emotions got the better of her. She sang. I can tell by the moon, I can tell by the time, by the sun. No matter how I mark the hours light and dark, I tell you time's just begun. Levi slowly moves closer to the bed. He began gently sitting down on the edge, cuddling Eren's hand in his own. It's the morning and your life day is breaking. Oh, so bright, you're brightly just the start, just one beat of my heart. Don't sleep away the morning light. Levi brings Eren's hand to his mouth, mumbling the following lyrics into the back of Eren's hand, trying to control the tears that were threatening to spill from his eyes. Please wake up, please wake up, leave dark dreams behind. Please wake up, it's your morning golden day to find. Levi gently reached down to stroke Eren's face, from hairline to chin, ignoring the tears in his own face. Once I had a morning too, I was young once just like you. Levi smooths out the blankets and makes sure Eren is still tucked in properly. It's evening and my light, all I have is the night, but it's still the morning for you. Levi smiles sadly as he gently places Eren's hands down on the boy's chest, leaving it to rest under his hand. For you. Eren sobbed as he listened to Levi's song. He wanted so desperately to open his eyes and tell the man he was okay. I'm here, Levi, I'm here. Eren's world started to go white, and he desperately tried to cling to the little confidence he had. Please, no, don't give up, Levi. I'm here, I'm here. Eren was pulled into another dream. 3 months. 3 whole fucking months. Levi couldn't take it anymore. Eren has been asleep for 3 months. Levi only moved from Eren's bedside to get food and water, and even then he had to drag himself out or by Hanji or Eren. Both his friends only grew more and more worried the longer Levi stayed at Eren's bedside. None of the captain's duties were complete. The paperwork was piling higher and higher. And the Levi squad, mainly, were left to their own devices. Hanji, Eren, and even Mobot tried their best to take over Levi's duties, but they weren't humanity's strongest soldiers. They couldn't do what Levi could. Hanji and Eren made the difficult decision one night. Levi was torturing himself. He needs to move on. Eren was never going to wake up, so keeping him alive was now a burden. What? Levi breathed, eyes going wide, looking at Eren and Hanji in a terrified look. You're going to... Levi, Eren said gently, approaching the man as if he was a wild animal. We've prolonged this enough. Eren isn't going to wake up. And keeping him asleep like this is only hurting you and him. It's time to let go. No. Levi stands up, placing himself in between Eren, Hanji, and Eren. No, you can't. Levi, please. Hanji says, holding a hand out to him. You're losing yourself. Please, it's time to let go. Tears flood Levi's eyes, but he relents. Can I say goodbye? Eren nods and silently leads Hanji out of the room. Once they are gone, Levi lets his tears fall, and he slowly walks over to Eren's bedside. I guess this is it, he mumbles. You know, after everything that's happened to me, I never thought I'd fall in love. A single tear falls from each of Levi's eyes. But you stole what was left of my heart, and now I'm about to lose you forever. Levi takes a step closer. There will never be a day I won't miss you, he mumbles, and I will never love anyone as much as I do you. Levi places a hand on top of Eren's head, letting his fingers intertwine with the brown threads. Goodbye, Eren. He lays down and presses his lips to Eren's. It was a soft kiss. It lasted only a few seconds before Levi straightened back, looking at Eren's closed eyes before turning to walk away. He didn't want to be here when they did it. To see Eren's breathing slow down and stop, to feel his body become colder and... Hello, Captain. Levi turned around in shock. Eren's eyes were open, half-lit and drowsy looking, but open. Hey, Brad. More tears slipped down his gray eyes, and Eren's face slowly broke into a smile. Levi smiled back, laughing brokily as more tears slipped. Levi collapsed to his knees next to Eren's bedside. Eren sits up in his bed, watching in shock as Levi buries his face into Eren's lap, and starts to sob in relief. One arm wrapped around Eren's waist, with the other placed with the hem of Eren's shirt. I thought I was never gonna see you again, Levi says between sobs. Eren and Hanji, they were. Shh. Eren wraps one hand around Levi's arm as another starts to stroke his hair. I know. Levi continues to babble like a small child. You woke up, you're awake. I'm awake, Eren reassures him. I'm here, I'm awake. Outside, Eren and Hanji hear Levi sob with broken hearts, misinterpreting the cries as one of anguish, not relief. Eren and Hanji walk in to console their friend when they both stop dead at the sight of Eren awake, sitting in the bed and Levi sobbing into his lap. Eren turns to look at them with wide eyes. He swallowed before speaking. Hello, Commander. Hello, Hanji. Levi only glances up at Eren and Hanji before letting his sobs take over him again. Eren continues to pet Levi's hair like a small child. Hanji places a hand to their mouth, tears foaming in their eyes. Eren, you're awake. Eren smiles softly. I'm awake. Hanji rushes over and throws her arm around Eren. Oh my god, we missed you so much. Eren looked a little overwhelmed at the fact of his two superiors were currently clutching him and sobbing all over him. Eren walked over and placed his hand on Eren's shoulder. Welcome back, Eren. Eren looked up at Eren. Thank you, sir. After a while, Eren led a still sobbing Hanji out of the room. Eren can only guess Eren was going to make an announcement about his awakening. Levi had finally calmed down enough to look at Eren in the eyes. Eren looked down at him with a warm expression. I could hear you. Huh? Eren looked sheepish. My slumber was weird, he admits. I was trapped in a void, and there were doors all around me. Some doors led to dreams, while others led to another void, where I could feel my body and hear everything around me, but I couldn't move. Levi listened in fascination as Eren continued. At first it was fuzzy. I couldn't remember who I was or where I was. It was like the darkness had me trapped in some trance. It was only when I heard you, sir, that I finally snapped out of it. Levi looked shocked. Me? Eren nodded. We had stayed by my bedside for 4 days straight, and Hanji tried to pull you away. You kept insisting that I would wake up, and that you weren't going to leave me until I did. Eren looked over at Levi. You took my hand and begged me to wake up. That's when everything came back. Levi's eyes widened, shocked that Eren remembered that. Everything since then was clear. Eren rubs his hand. I could hear everything, feel everything, but because I was so drowsy and sleepy, I couldn't move. I couldn't open my eyes. He then turns to Levi with a slight blush on his face. I heard you singing. Levi's face burned as he sputtered. What? You sang to me. Eren smiled sheepishly. I heard you. It made me cry, but I loved it anyway. Levi sighed, smiling at Eren. Did you hear your confession from a bit ago? Eren finished blushing. Yeah, I did. So, Eren beamed down at Levi. I love you too. Levi looked up and kissed Eren. The other wrapped his arms around the captain and pulled him close. As they break away, Levi pulled Eren into a hug as he rested his head on Eren's shoulder, enjoying the embrace. Levi noticed the now rotting apple on the bedside table. The glow was gone. It was just an ordinary apple, and Levi smiled, knowing the curse was broken and Eren would, hopefully, never leave his arms again. That was a longer one, but I hope you enjoy it. I know, my throat didn't, but such a heartwarming story.